Sorry, we started English because your parents are from Chile. You're living 40 years in Sweden, but you could learn English, no? To speak.
Yes, even if it's not so good, my English, but I think it's maybe better than the Spanish.
No, don't worry, Spanish is okay, really good. Okay, I would like to ask you, because we internationally they show the bars open in Sweden, and Sweden is make all the world is in lockdown, and Sweden seems not to be in a lockdown. So how is the reality? Is it like this or not?
The reality is that they say that everything is normal here, but it's absolutely not normal. They are trying to keep like we're all trying to fight the corona, but in different. Here you respect the people, and you want people to be able to continue quite normal, because they know that this virus is going to be for a long time. And if you force people to be if you put too heavy measures, and then people are going to get sick. Like after 1 month, they're not going to respect the lockdown anymore, because it's very. So they want people here to do it by themselves. So they started already in the beginning of March to tell everybody that can work from home to work at home, and also to keep the schools open. So all children up to about 16 years go to school, and the kindergartens are open, and then the teenagers that are from when you go to high school is called, when you're like from 17 to 20, they have to study from home, and the universities. But and also that you have to be very careful with your elderly persons and people from risk groups.
So the people are doing the voluntary isolation by themselves?
Exactly. But not isolation, because they want people to like keep living quite normal, and also to not shut down all the shops and restaurants, because they want the society to continue to also, so not everybody goes bankrupt. So even if the restaurants, are empty, you could say, and the shops are empty, they are still working, so people can go there and work.
But for example, if the schools are open, if the kids are the one who are bringing the virus at home, so how is it possible? Do they all wear gloves and masks? And what do you do?
In Sweden, you are not. Well, some people wear the mask, but the government and the public health agency, they say it's for no use, really. It doesn't help if you wear a mask, and it doesn't help if you go around wearing gloves. The most important thing is to keep 2 meters from each other and wash your hands often. That's the best help.
But how can you do it in a school, for example? You have like 20 children in this class. It's impossible to have like...
The thing is that in the beginning, a lot of teachers and parents were a bit skeptical and say, oh, but the kids are always sick, and how are we going to know if it's not the virus? And of course, if you have any symptoms of, if you're cold or have a fever, then you're not supposed to go to work or to go to school. But there are very few people who get tested here, because there isn't a lot of tests available. So you're in Sweden, you don't test people like they do in other countries, because they say that, it doesn't make any difference if you get tested and you don't have the virus. That's good for today, but you can get the virus tomorrow. And if you're cold, if you're feeling sick, then you have to stay at home. And if you get a positive corona test, then it's not different because you have to stay at home anyway to keep a quarantine.
Yeah, but the problem is other people who are who don't have symptoms. So you know, maybe you have children without symptoms and they're at school and they are bringing the virus, and
but the thing is that there are almost no kids who get very sick with the corona, and almost no teenager. So I think my opinion, and a lot of Swedish people, is that the quarantine that you're having in Spain and Italy is like torture for the kids, because the kids are the people, the ones who are the people who get the less sick, and also to keep them at home for that long time, that's a terrible experiment, I think. Because even if the kids are going to school here, there haven't been any outbreak of virus in any school. You know?
No, the problem is if they go back and they bring the virus to the people who are the elder people who are living at home.
The thing is that all countries have different. The societies are different, and in Sweden and in Stockholm especially, you already live very separated. It's not like in Spain, you know, the grandparents they take care of the kids, but in Sweden it's not like that. You have great daycare, great schools, so you don't depend on your grandparents. And the grandparents here are often very active and they have their own life. They don't want to take care of kids, you know, because they have the golf trips and wine trips and so it's already there's not a lot of you don't see your grandparents every day, and you definitely don't live with them like you do in Italy or
because you don't
Spain.
have so long working hours as well.
No, you don't. And you know, all kids go to kindergarten here, to daycare, and they do it until they are 6 years old, and then they start school. And in school, you go to school, and then you have daycare after the school. So there's no need for your grandparents.
Pamela, one question, because I was seeing the numbers of the other Scandinavian countries, and they are much. In Sweden, the death toll is higher, and also the infected are higher. Are you afraid that maybe, you know, you're doing the government is taking the wrong decisions, but because you are working in a hospital, what's your feeling?
I am not afraid at all. I trust the Swedish health organization agency in Sweden totally, because I mean there are like more than 500 experts who work there, and they don't only work with the coronavirus. They work for the public health in general in Sweden. So when they make decisions, they make the decisions for the whole society, not only for this coronavirus right now. And they are saying that if you put people on lockdown for 2 months, then you destroy the businesses, you destroy the economy, and the economy has already been quite destroyed here, but not as much as other countries. And also because if you do this and you tell people and educate them that you do this voluntary, then people are going to last longer doing this. Because in other countries, like in the States, and there are already protests against lockdowns. But it's different between other countries, because in Sweden here people are quite educated and they trust the government, they trust the public health agency, and also you have like social control. If they are telling the politicians are saying during Easter to not go and visit your parents and don't make any trips in Sweden, like don't leave your city, then 90% of these people from Stockholm didn't go anywhere, you know. So people take responsibility and follow the rules.
Yeah, the
And
thing is,
so,
for example, we have the lockdown now also for such a long time, and the thing, it started the lockdown because there were so many deaths suddenly. You know, it started very quickly. It was very slow, and then it's very quickly, and it seems that the lockdown was the only solution to stop it. So I'm not sure now how it works. But
in Sweden, they knew that it was going to come, but you didn't have that big amount of because you started quite in the beginning to tell people, now this is virus is come to come, and this is how we're going to do it. And you are not supposed to meet the elderly. You have to wash your hands, and you have to keep distance. And people have really, really listened, really listened. And the thing is that they are talking about this herd immunity.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. I wanted to ask you about it.
Exactly, and I think this is the best way to do. I mean, they are not saying that we have to reach. That's not the main goal, but it's going to be, because all the countries that have put their countries in lockdown, when everybody's going to, then all the kids that had been at home, then nobody has had the virus. You know, so it's not going to be a herd immunity. But here, all the kids that have gone to school, and maybe they have gotten the corona, but they weren't even sick. That means that the whole society is going to gain from that. You know.
So the problem is you are speaking about the herd immunity, but they say that you can go infected in the future. You know, although you had it, but not so much, no, not so.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't get
and most of the viruses that the influenza viruses, the pandemics that have been happened, they always have a second wave. And with this way we're doing here, they think that the second wave that's going to hit before they get the vaccine, it's not going to affect Sweden as much as the other countries. Like in this fall.
Pamela, this fall. Sorry, I interrupted you.
This fall they think the next winter it's going to be the second wave of the corona. And if you don't have the vaccine, then it's going to be like, are you going to put Spain on lockdown again, or what are you going to do? And then the Swedish people are going to have more immunity than you have. That's the difference. You understand?
But did you close for example, the airports? Are they closed, or do you have people from?
Closed. Well, if you're from EU country, you can come to Sweden. Yeah, but I mean there are so few airlines working. You know, there's not a lot of, and Swedish people are not traveling at all. But they haven't closed anything.
If I come, for example, now from a country like Spain, I have to go to a voluntary lockdown in Sweden or not?
No, nobody's going to check you. No.
Okay.
But I don't think. I mean, there are no. I mean, how many flights are there from Spain now? I don't think. And you can.
Yeah. How's the situation now in the hospitals? You're working as a nurse.
Well, this how do you say? This plan they had here. It's been like they know people are going to get the virus here, but they want the curve to be slow, so it doesn't affect the hospitals too much, so it doesn't get too much to handle. And in the beginning, they started to make a big military hospital that they had, and the hospitals and the healthcare in Sweden has been very efficient here. Like in the beginning, they were talking, oh, we don't have any alcohol, we are lacking this mask, we are lacking the visir. I don't know how you call it.
Yeah.
It's called visir. Yeah. But I mean, our hospital, it's like we have 4 big hospitals in Stockholm, and I'm working one of them. And they started to make in a couple of days, they started to make their own visirs, and they started to make their own plastic aprons.
Yeah.
So I mean, now the first patient that came to our hospital was in the first week of March. with corona, and they tripled the intensive care beds in like a couple, in just 2 weeks or something. And they also opened more wards only to concentrate the corona patients. So they are in separate wards apart from other patients. And now it's been 1.5 months, and there are still intensive care beds left. And there are still places at the ward. I mean, so it hasn't been totally chaos. It's critical and it's a lot of work, but it's not chaos. And everybody's working. It's like, I don't know, it's under control. Yeah. And I don't think the people, I mean, we who work at hospitals expected that, but it's been working very good. And it still hasn't gotten like over too much.
But do you think if, for example, now suddenly it started, would Sweden be well prepared? Because, for example, in Germany, you have more intensive beds, you had more ventilated respirators.
Yeah.
For example, in Spain it was a big problem. So, but because it was very quick and we had the prices before, but Sweden, how is it in Sweden? Would you be prepared if this increases much more?
Yeah, but they don't think it's going to increase anymore. This is like, now we reach the plateau, and it's like it's even the last couple of days it's been decreasing a bit in the intensive care, but the thing is that it's now spreading there are more cases in Gothenburg and in the south of Sweden. So because Stockholm was the most had the most cases in the beginning, but now it's like, and the thing is that everybody in the hospital is saying, okay, this is terrible, but anyway, it didn't get worse, and it hasn't gotten worse. Of course, it's the problem is going to be all the other operations and people with other sickness that had to postpone everything, because then in a couple of months you're going to have to, take care of other normal kind of operations. But everybody in the hospital has been, they are very impressed with how everything has worked. Yeah.
And you think you have this situation there also because the Swedish people are more distant, not so much hugging, or because they live, for example, more alone, or what do you think? Why does this happen in Sweden and not in Spain?
I think it's absolutely. I mean, in Sweden we already have a kind of social distancing. Like Stockholm is the city in the world that has most single households. I mean, that people live alone, and already, Swedish people are not very sociable. It's not like everybody goes out in a pub or a bar. You work and then you go home. That's it. So some people, it's not. I think the people who has to change most are older people, because they don't get any visits anymore, and they are getting very, quite depressed. And in the beginning, they had when they say that people over 70 are supposed to stay at home and only go out if absolutely necessary, and only go out shopping like when there's nobody else out shopping, or less people shopping. So a lot of shops have like hours, like in the morning, like from 8 to 9, we want everybody in risk groups to come and buy, so they don't mingle so much. But you go out and you still see old people like 5 o'clock when everybody's shopping, and they are out shopping. So in the beginning, a lot of older people, they feel, I feel age discriminated, and I don't feel sick, and why should I stay at home? And then we say, yeah, but in other countries, you force children to stay at home when they are not the ones who are getting sick. You should be the one staying at home, and not force the whole society to stay at home just to protect the elderly. You understand? So here it's been a bit of how do you say? Young people are a bit irritated with older people that don't listen.
Yeah. So
Because
one question.
you should stay at home so we don't have to. Whole society has to be shut down.
But for example, one question. Okay, you have school and the people work at home if it's possible, but also you have, I don't know, activity, sport activity. No, it's all cancelled. No, I suppose.
No. All the sports activity. Well, in the beginning, it was a bit. Oh, we have to shut the gyms, and some gym chains they closed down. But there is one very popular chain that didn't close down. So after a while, the other was thought that okay, we're open again. But you can still go to the gym, and all the activities for children like football and things, they are still open but they encourage you to do it outside, like not inside. Like my son, he plays basketball, and like for 2 weeks they canceled all the training, but then they started the trainings again, but only outside in the open air.
Yeah. Okay.
But they still have like football match as long as you're not more than 50 people.
For me, it's like another world, you know.
Yeah. But
I don't remember the word that there were like football matches and gyms.
Yeah. My son goes to the gym, and but the thing is that there are a lot of Swedish people that are afraid. I mean, I'm here. I think maybe
I would be.
not. But I'm not. I'm really not afraid at all. You know. But
Pamela, one question. You told me that you are trusting all the experts. I think you have like Anders Tegnell, no? Who is the one man who is always in the headline. But the thing is, I don't know, but all the experts of the other world or part of the world, they think in a different way. Maybe it's for Sweden only working, or it will come. I'm not sure. You know, do you?
But the thing is that there are a lot of experts in other countries. They have almost the same opinion as the Swedish Public Health Agency have. But in other countries, the politicians have much more power, and they want to enforce the power.
Yeah, I'm not sure because don't worry. I'm not sure because they also hear because the economy, it's also the political interest. You know, you have a lot of biologists who say the opposite thing. But we will see. I hope really that it works.
We will see.
For
but
me, it's really strange hearing it, you know.
Yeah, but I really hope, and I don't think this is an experiment. I think this is going to work out perfect. I think like in a year when you're going to count how many died and how many people, because what's going to happen with all the people in your country and Italy and all the other, I mean, you have child abuse, women abuse, people have lost their job, depression, suicides, and I don't think that's going to be a problem here in Sweden. You know, and also I think it's a terrible thing to lock your kids down. I mean, you can, if you're a dog you can go out, but if you're a kid you can't go out. That's terrible. And in Sweden, you know, people really love nature here, and they I mean, you don't see, if you go downtown in a shopping mall or the center, the shops are totally empty. I mean, and the shops are open, you can go and shop, but people have stopped shopping. They shop online, or they don't shop anymore, because since you can't go to parties, you can't go out, you don't need to shop any clothes. And if you work at home, you don't need more clothes either.
Yeah.
But so the shops are closed. But if you go out, like in Stockholm, it's a big city, but you have a lot of green spaces here. You have a lot of parks and forest. And Swedish people like to go out to walk in the nature.
Spanish people also. What the thing? Spanish people also, or German people. You know, I'm German, but
German too, exactly. So here, the Public Health Agency, they encourage people to go out in the nature, even people of over 70, but not with other persons. but alone or
No.
with your partner or something. Yeah. So it's really funny because now you go to national parks or big forests, and there's a lot of people there that usually aren't there. So a lot of people have now, since you can't go to the cinema, well, the cinema's closed, and the theaters, and there are no concerts, nothing to do. Then people are going out and or in the nature.
So how long will they be? When will they open again? Did they say it, or it's now a situation that will take like months?
Well, since the situation for everyone is, I mean, everybody's accepting this. They haven't put any date. The only thing they're saying, like, prepare yourself for this summer. There is not going to be any trips to Europe. Vacation in Sweden, and still also don't. People over 70 don't go out too much or meet family. And of course, I haven't met my mother I met her like 3 weeks ago, and then we went to her, we had coffee and cake, and she was sitting 3 meters from us, and we had the coffee outside.
Yeah. But
And that's it.
That's it. But the people, for example, in the bars, when they are sitting, they are also without mask. They are just some meters away, no mask. But because the expert, they say that the masks are very important. The expert I heard.
The experts in Sweden are saying here that they don't help anything. Well, the only thing that maybe they can help is if you're coughing and you want to avoid your saliva to spread, but you're not going to protect yourself if you don't have a special medical mask. And the thing is, the problem with if you have a mask, it's also that it gets wet, humid, and if it's humid, you're going to let virus in. And also, if you're wearing a mask, what you do is you take your hand and you adjust, and you're there more in your face than you when you're not wearing a mask.
Yeah, the thing is here, they were seeing this in the beginning, and then they said, no, it's better to wear anything than nothing, Yeah. But we will see. Pamela, my last question is, do you see something positive out of this crisis?
The environment, it's good. And also the less, now you since when the weekend comes, I'm working full time, and then you can't do anything other than go out in the nature and spend time with your kids. And so even if my kids they are teenagers, so they are not at home, and they don't have to be at home, and still, nobody in my family has been sick. And a few people I know have been sick. I was a little sick in the beginning of March, so I'm hoping that I had corona, but I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, Pamela, thank you very much. I hope really we speak in some weeks or months, and you were right, because I'm a little bit. When I hear it, it's like, I'm not knowing, or I don't know what to think, because it's the opposite way totally.
Am I the only one you interviewed who has this opinion?
No, Sweden is the only country that is going this direction, and
I know that, but I mean, there are people in the States that think they should do like we do it in Sweden.
Yeah. Okay, so.
Okay.
Keep healthy. Thank you very much. And we hope that for Sweden it's going like this. Goodbye.
I can only say that I'm very proud and happy that I'm living in Sweden.
Yeah.